последната кафе пауза и преминаваме към последните 3 презентации за днешния ден в рамките на конференцията. От 16 часа имаме отново лектор от Турция, който ще представи презентация на тема Импулсни протеини, алтернативен източник в производството на сладкиши. Dear Gamze, are you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Hi everyone, my name is Gamze Nil Yazici. Now I'm trying to share my screen. If something went wrong, please inform me about this issue.
Okay, we will wait you to share your screen.
Is it okay to?
It looks like okay.
Yeah.
Now you can start.
Okay. My name is Gamze Nil Yazici. I'm attending from Cukurova University in Turkey, and today I will share my presentation, whose topic is legume proteins and alternative source in cake production. In this regard, first of all, I will touch on the plant-based protein and advantages of them regarding both environmental and consumer point of view, and then I will mention about the advantages of using legume proteins and most commonly used legume proteins, and I try to summarize the effect of using legume proteins in cake production, cake quality parameters. So in recent years, researchers are seeking for alternative protein sources instead of animal-based one, because as we know that global warming and climate change is increasing, and we know that food production is close relationship between the global warming, and whether in the form of flood, drought, or hurricane, it impacts every process of food production and result with the price instability. Also, world population is ever increasing, and it is expected to reach nearly 9-10 billion up to 2050. So it means that we need additional need for food of nearly half of our current needs. So we know that food security in this regard, food security will be a huge challenge for all of us, and food security, as we know that all people all the time have should access physically, economically, and socially sufficient, safe, and nutrition food, and we know that we will face this problem in following years. And hunger and malnutrition will be a serious problem, especially for the poverty-stricken regions. And it brings us a protein shortage. And of course, we should, let's say, compact the protein demand and supplies because our conventional protein sources is insufficient and our natural farmland, natural sources is limited. So the major sustainable protein sources are basically subdivided to 3 main groups as plant-based one, microbial, and edible insects. And in this regard, plant-based are composed of grain, seeds, nuts, and of course legumes. This is the world point of view, but when we look from the consumer's view, the awareness of consumers about food and health relationship increasing. So wellness trend, let's say, determinant the purchase choices. And also some health problems and also concerns led the consumers to consume plant-based food, and also the high number of people follow the vegetarian and vegan diets. So when we to sum up, this world and consumer point of view let us all do plant-based enriched foods. So when we pass to do legumes, as we know that the term legume refers to plants whose fruit is enclosed in a pod, and they belong to family Leguminose. And as we know that legumes known as protein for poor or poor man's meat, it's half of true, half of wrong term. Yes, legumes are rich in protein sources, but they are not just for poor people. They are available and suitable all of us. So they are typically contain nearly twice amount of protein when we compare to whole grain cereals, and up to 30% protein in dry based. And also they are rich in essential amino acids, and they are also rich in high fiber content. So this high fiber content stabilize blood sugar and insulin level, and this is related with the decreasing the diabetes and also reducing the LDL cholesterol. So it is related with reducing or also coronary heart diseases. And legumes are rich in vitamin and minerals, and especially folate and iron. And iron absorption is increasing when we combine with the vitamin C. So this could be also a solution for the iron deficiencies. And also legumes increase satiety with their high fiber content also. So it can be a solution for the weight management. And also rich in bioactive content like phytochemicals and antioxidants, so maybe have a role in anti-cancer features. So when we look at their high nutritional value, in fact, it's related with the high health benefits. This is the nutritional point. But when we pass to the environmental and economical factors, environmental issues generally related with the sustainability, because legumes obtain their own nitrogen through a symbiotic relationship between the soil microbiome as rhizopia, and their ability to thanks for their ability to fix atmospheric nitrogen in the soil, the need for the fertilizers is decreasing. So it is also economical advantages. But also the using inorganic fertilizers also responsible for the nearly half of the agricultural greenhouse gas emissions. So legumes also have a have a role in the decreasing carbon footprints as well. And also legumes water footprints is lower than several animal-based food products like milk, egg, and meat. So legumes contribute mitigating the climate change by reducing these footprints. And also intercropping with cereals contribute to sustainability, because soil biodiversity as renewable natural sources as well increasing. And when we look at the main sources of legume proteins, we are faced with the most commonly used are soy proteins in food products, especially in the bakery products, followed by pea proteins. However, as we know that lupin is really rich in protein content, and also lentil have the highest some amino acids as adenine and lysine. So we should focus on different legume proteins as well. So there is no similar classification in the literature, but when we look at the case studies including legume proteins, we face that legume proteins are using enrichments or replacing or reducing some main cake ingredients like egg, fat, and milk. And the motivation, the reason behind these replacements are generally based on some health problems or health concerns. For example, for the egg replacement, egg allergy, phenylketonuria, high cholesterol concerns, and avian influenza is the reasons, and also some different dietary preferences, like as we mentioned before, vegan and vegetarian diet also the reasons, the egg replacement by legume proteins, and also the shelf life and the transporting is easy when using legume protein compared to egg. When we look at the fat replacement is generally associated with the hypercholesterolemia. So it is linked with the cardiovascular disease, and also to reduce calorie intake for weight management as well. And also, when we look at the milk replacement, generally people have cow's milk allergy or lactose intolerance, and also, again, different dietary preferences are the reasons behind the milk replacement. So when we can say that legume proteins can be a solution for not just for enriching, fortifying the composition, but also have functional properties as water binding, oil holding capacity, gelation, and solubility. So as we know that functional properties, of course, depend on processing methods or physicochemical properties like structure, conformation, amino acid profile, hydrophobicity, or interfacial behavior. But we can say that functional properties of legume proteins are can be a solution for the replacement of main ingredients in cake production. So first of all, when we look at the effects of soy-based proteins on nutritional properties, we can say that egg replacement is conducted by using soy protein isolates, but not individually in Juliantes et al. Studies. Combined with soy protein isolate combined with cornstarch and xanthan for gluten-free cake reduction. In another study, Akasovan is worked on a study that fat reduction aimed and using the soy protein isolate, and in the last case the end product fat content is nearly 11-12%, and the control was nearly 20%. So mission accomplished for the fat reduction, and as we expected, total energy is reduced together with the fat content. And as we expected, again, protein content is increased, and it's attributed to soy protein isolate protein content, which is more than 90%. So we can say that the end product is more nutritious than the control sample. And in another study, milk replacement was let's say conducted by using soy protein hydrolyzed. But in that study, not just milk replacement is achieved. Sugar replacement also is achieved by fructooligosaccharides, and wheat flour also replaced by using apple puree. So the whole results are just cannot attribute to soy protein hydrolyzed, but we can say that total dietary fiber is increased nearly tenfold when we compare the control sample, and is attributed to fructooligosaccharides and apple puree. And also the increasing in the dietary fiber content, which resulted in to reducing glycemic index and glycemic loads and total caloric value in the end product. So as we said before, that the most commonly used legume proteins in cake production is soy. So when we look at the effects of using soy-based proteins on cake quality parameters, it is not reasonable to make a general approach, but we can say that as we see in the results section, we can say that specific volume and volume related scores like volume index generally decrease. We can attribute it to that generally legume-based proteins are less elastic than the gluten, so cell expansion is limited when we compare with the gluten. So the crumb structure is generally condensed, appears more condensed when we compare the control sample. So when volume related qualities is decreased, and we expect that the texture properties as hardness or firmness generally increase. And we can see in the results section as well. And also generally the color lightness value is generally decreased. It means that the crust of the cakes is generally more darker. So it's attributed to generally legume proteins contribution to the Maillard reaction. But when we look at the Azmoun et al. Studies, the lightness values increase. And in that study, soy protein isolate is combined with two different hydrocolloids as konjac gum and guar gum as a stabilizer. So use the addition of these stabilizers increase the ability of aerating and entrapping the air, which resulting in the brighten and whiter cake batter. So the lightness is increased, and the reason behind this result is explained by the researchers like that. And the egg replacement also was conducted by using soy protein based legume protein. But when we look at the other ingredients, the soy protein isolates didn't use generally individually. They combined generally hydrocolloids and the emulsifiers. And the most commonly used hydrocolloid is xanthanga. And the most commonly used emulsifiers is monodiglyceride and soy lecithin generally. And we can say that when we use the soy protein isolate individually, they increase the viscosity, butter viscosity, and it's attributed to limited foam stability of soy protein isolates. And also this resulted with the decreasing in the specific volume and hardness in the firmness. But when combined with the xanthanga, the viscosity is further increased because of the hydrocolloid's high water binding capacity. However, when we use these protein sources, xanthanga, together with the emulsifiers, viscosity decreased. And it means that more aerated and the specific volume is increased. And also when we compare the soy lecithin and monodiglyceride to each other, we can say that lecithin have similar wettability effects as egg yolk. So the pore size distribution of the cakes are similar with the control sample when we then the monodiglyceride, we can say that. And of course, xanthanga used in Matos et al. Study as well for the egg replacement together with the soy protein isolate for the gluten-free muffin, and the raw material is the rice flour. But we can say that the raw material also determinant for the quality parameters of the end products, because in another study not shown in here, soy protein isolate is used to different concentration as 10 to 20%. But when we use potato starch as a raw material, as a gluten-free raw material, the specific volume is increased. But when we use cornstarch as a gluten-free raw material together with the soy protein isolate, the values decrease. So we can say that the raw material is also determinant for the quality of the end product. So as we mentioned before that, the second most commonly used legume protein is pea protein. So it's similar to the soy protein. When we use pea protein individually, butter density is increased as we expected, because pea protein also have low emulsifying capacity and stability. So again, volume related values decreased. But there is a promising result in Bravo Nunes et al. Studies, and we can say that when combined with the pea protein with whey proteins, there is promising results obtained about especially hardness, and also more acceptable cakes are obtained regarding sensorial properties. And in another study again, xanthan I mean, an emulsifier combined with the pea protein. So when we use pea protein individually, specific gravity of batter decrease as we expected, like viscosity values and the density of the butter. But independent from the emulsified type, monodiglyceride or isoleucine, when we combine with the xanthan and pea protein isolates and the emulsifier, the specific gravity is decreased. So it's related with the increasing in the volume as well. And when we have a chance to compare pea protein and soy protein in Matos et al. Study, so we can say that there is no significant differences in height, specific volume, weight loss, and lightness values when we compare soy protein and pea protein between each other. But the hardness values is higher when we're using soy protein isolates, and the yellowish pigments, let's say the A and B values are higher when we using pea protein in the cake as a cake ingredients. And of course, there are some studies, but limited studies regarding the different legume proteins in cake production. But we can face that cowpea, lentil, and lupin protein isolates also used in the cake production for egg replacement. But also we can see that the Jarpa Parra et al. Studies also product type is determinant for the quality parameters of the cakes, because there are different results are obtained for the angel cake and the muffins. So there is another study not shown in here, but enzyme-based extraction by using glucoamylase to degrade the starch and then mild drying were used for the extract the protein from white bean and lentil. So we can say that nearly 50-gram protein obtained per 100-gram dry extract, and essential amino acids is nearly more than 40% of total protein when the white beans, and more than 30% of the lentils. But of course, the protein digestibility corrected amino acid scores is lower than soy and egg, but higher than wheat protein. So there are some promising results as well. So again, the moisture content is increased, so freshness perception is increased, and crumbliness reduced. These are the promising results, but there is slight of flavor as we expected from the legumes. So I try to sum up to my presentation. We can say that legume proteins have a role in the sustainability, environmental issues, but also have a high nutritional values, especially regarding protein content, but also essential amino acids. But not just for the nutritional value, they also have functional properties, so we can use the legume proteins for the replacement or reduction of the raw materials of cakes. But further studies should more center using other legumes like lentil and lupin and navy bean, and optimization, their extraction methods should be optimized. Because there is a remarkable amount of consumers who have soy allergy, so we have to find alternative to soy protein. And besides the following studies not only focus on the influence of using different legume proteins for enrichment or replacement on technological properties of butter and cakes, but also the nutritional value of end products, because as we mentioned before that, there are limited studies, and generally they are focused on approximate composition, but also the following studies should also focus on protein quality and protein digestibility. So thank you for attention, and I can handle if you have a question or your question remarks or something like that.
Thank you very much, Gamze. This was an excellent presentation, and we thank you for sharing with us with this significant information. The presented cakes look like very delicious instead. On behalf of Bulgarian Risk Assessment Center, I wish you future success in science, and in case of questions, we are expecting them.